if you look around me right now, I have just a mountain of yarn and sweaters and vests. Sneak peek of my yarn. Now we're moving into acquisitions. So I went to Knit City, Calgary, like I mentioned, and I bought some yarn there. And yeah, I had a great time. Never went to a knitting festival or convention before, and it was great seeing all the vendors, seeing all the yarn. Yeah, would recommend. I think I would go back, and I was debating not going. I only went for the last day on Sunday. It was a 3-day event, and I kind of regret not going for at least Saturday and Sunday, because there were some like classes and workshops that you could sign up for as well. So I didn't go to any of those. I just went to the marketplace on Sunday. But I really enjoyed it, and I kind of wish that I had more time to shop around. But then honestly, maybe it's because I didn't have more time, because I didn't buy that much. I mean, we're knitters, we know. But I did go in with a plan for what I wanted to shop for, and I did stick to my plan, so I'm kind of pleased with myself about that. So I'll start out with this yarn here. So this is a worsted weight yarn. It's from a Canadian company, farm. They have this sheep on the farm. I believe they're out of BC. So they have the sheep there. They do the dyeing and everything, spinning, so they make this. I spoke with the lady that was manning the booth there. She was really helpful. There were tons of colors. I had such a hard time narrowing it down. And yeah, now that I've felt and seen the yarns, I might potentially order online from them in the future. So we'll see how these work up. But just in the skein, I just love how dimensional the color is. It's kind of blowing it out on the camera right now. It's a bit darker. And then this is the lighter skein. So I got 4 skeins of 100 grams of this one. And then I got just 100 grams of the lighter color, because I plan on making a Colourwork sweater. Am I talking about my plans? I feel like it makes sense just to say what I'm going to use this for. Or will I? Maybe I'll just talk about the yarn, and then in another video I will do my plans, because this is already getting kind of long. But yes, this will be a Colourwork sweater. Maybe you can guess which one. It's a worsted weight yarn. So that was that. And then the next thing that I got were these, which I plan to make a Colourwork sweater out of, which I don't think that I will anymore. This is the Rowan yarn. This is the felted tweed. So they're both the felted tweed. This is like the solid color, and this one is the variegated. So it has like pink, purple, blue alternating. And then this one here is like a brown, but it has flecks of the tweed of blue and white, kind of orangey copper. So really dimensional. And I had originally wanted to make the porcelain sweater. I'm sure you guys all know. Maybe I'll put it up here. And I wanted to make the background color for this brown, and then I wanted to have the accent color work with this so that it would kind of be alternating colors as it went down. I did a gauge swatch for this, which I don't have to show you anymore because I did unravel it since then because I didn't like it. But I didn't find that the contrast was enough between the two. And I also didn't meet gauge. And then I didn't want it to be too small. So I just didn't want to risk it. I bought the pattern, so I still might make that later on with some different yarn. But as of right now, these will not be the porcelain sweater. One of these, I already have a whip because I pivoted and am now knitting something else with it. I have plans for the other one, but stay tuned. So that is what I got. The sun is setting right now, so it's coming through my hallway. You can't see here, so it's like illuminating the yarn, but also it might be changing the color here. And the last thing that I got from Knit City was this alpaca silk by Drops. So Drops, I believe it's like a European company, and I don't have access to it at any of the local yarn shops here where I live. So when I saw this at a vendor in Knit City, I purchased it. It's super soft. I have knit with like 100% alpaca in the past, and I know that I can tolerate alpaca. It's not itchy or anything. I'm hesitant. I haven't knit anything with mohair, and I'm hesitant too, just because I feel like I have sensitive skin. So any of the yarns that I've mentioned, I haven't found itchy. So keep that in mind if you're someone that's also sensitive. Everything I've used so far, like the Gilead, is really not itchy at all. This one here, it originally called for a strand of Isager tweed and a strand of silk mohair, but I just did one DK weight yarn to meet gauge. And this one's not itchy either, so yeah. So I don't usually use mohair, but I wanted to try alpaca because I know that alpaca doesn't bother me, so I thought it would be good to give that a go. And yeah, I got 3 balls of this, and when I get into my whips, you will hear the fiasco that ended up happening with this, so stay tuned for that. So that's everything that I got at Knit City, which I thought is not bad. Like, I got a sweater quantity of these, and the 5 skeins of the other one. 500 grams I think is enough. We'll see. But yeah, I guess I'll order more if I need to, but hopefully I don't have to. And usually, because I crop everything, I'll just knit the sleeves and then knit the body till I run out, and then however cropped it is, I'll just be fine with it. So yeah, I'll show what I got from my local yarn shop, and that is what is in here. I had 2 projects in mind, one being a cable knit cardigan and one being another cardigan number 9 in a plain color, just because the last one that I made out of Noro, and it's like a very colorful, like pink, yellow, purple, blue, green, like very multicolored, and I liked the silhouette and the fit of it, so I wanted to make another one with just a neutral color. So I went in looking for yarn for a neutral cardigan number 9 and for an undecided cable knit sweater, but I know that I want to make one, and I feel like when I find the perfect pattern, I want to have yarn to just start casting it on. I guess I'll talk about my kind of philosophy for yarn stashing. I know that some people like to keep a stash of yarn. I don't. So all the yarn that I have is spoken for and is for specific patterns. Yeah, I don't ever have anything sweater quantity just sitting around, with the exception of, you know, when I went on a trip. I didn't have the pattern in mind, but I knew that I wanted a vest, so it was still kind of, I kind of knew what I wanted to make when I bought this. And now I have one skein left over, so we'll see. That is pretty much what all of my stash is leftover skeins from projects, which I honestly try to avoid. If it's something that I bought like locally, like I said, that I usually do, and I knit it up fast enough that I can still return it, I will. So I don't like to have extra balls lying around. With this sweater, just because I started it so long ago, I think I bought the yarn in like January or February, don't quite remember, so it's been a while, so I'm just stuck with those leftover skeins. It's not the end of the world, but yeah, I usually don't have a stash, so I do have to go out and buy per design or per garment. So I'll start with this one here. They're both by the same brand. So it is the Custom Woolen Mills yarn. It's an Aran weight yarn. These are also 100% natural wool, so it's undyed. This is the color of the sheep. It's also grown and processed in Canada and super locally to me. I think that this is about an hour away from where, maybe not even that far from where I live. So yeah, my local yarn shop started carrying these, and they had some really cool colors. I went in with a plan for my neutrals, so I just bought these, but maybe in the future I might grab some other colors. So yeah, this one here is in the color 22. I mean, I guess it's not dyed, so this is just what it is. And then this is in the color 5. It's like a very dark, like charcoal brown. And I wanted to make a cable knit sweater with this one. And I like the idea of knitting a heavily textured garment in a dark colorway. Even though it doesn't photograph as well, I feel like in person it just feels very like cozy and rich, and I love the idea of that. That's what I really want to do with this one, so I'll maybe talk about that a bit later. I think that I'm going to do my plans in a separate video, so just know that this will be a cable knit sweater, and then I'll talk more about it in that one, because I am already parched. This one is gonna be my cardigan number 9, which I have already started, so you'll see that when I get into my whips section. Yes, I haven't got it into my whips yet, guys. This is why I needed the YouTube channel, because I need to talk about this stuff. And I really wish that I would have been part of like the knitting community when I was looking for a pattern for this yarn. So I looked through quite a few patterns. I had like quite a few, maybe 4 or 5 patterns on my short list, but nothing was quite perfect. And I figured if it's going to be a cable knit cardigan, it's going to take me a while to knit. So if I'm going to spend all of this effort into knitting it, I want it to be like the perfect pattern. And it's not like I can ask my friends for recommendations because none of them knit. I don't have any friends that knit currently. So yeah, I was just kind of scouring the internet, looking on Instagram, trying to see. But hopefully posting this YouTube video will reach more people. Because I really wanted to just ask for recommendations for cable knit cardigans. I think I found my perfect pattern, but we'll talk about that more later. And that's all for my acquisitions. It seems like a lot, but it was 2 sweater quantities from Knit City and then 2 cardigan quantities from my local yarn shop. So those are kind of the 4 garments that I'm going to be focusing on for my autumn knitting. So now we're moving into whips. I'll start out with this sweater. I'll show the yarn first. So this was the other purchase that I made during my trip to Japan. This is the Noro Silk Garden Sock Solo in the color T82. I bought this yarn during my trip from that same yarn shop in Osaka, and I knew that I wanted to make a stockinette sweater. I bought 5 balls, I think, of this. That should be enough. We'll find out, but I think that that should be enough. I circled through patterns that I wanted to make. The composition of this yarn is 40% wool, 25% silk, 25% polyamide, and 10% mohair. It's only 40% wool. It does have the mohair in there, so I figured that this would be kind of like a less warm sweater. This went through several iterations. The first thing I knit was the Terrazzo sweater by Petite Knit. And I think it calls for this yarn in particular held with a strand of mohair. Like I mentioned, I don't really like to use mohair, so I figured I would just knit it without. I wanted to do something that was in the round completely, so either a raglan or that one is, I don't know what you'd call it. It's like it looks like a saddle shoulder, but it's all knit at once. You don't have to pick up any stitches. Just because I wanted the striping to like go all the way around. I didn't want it to be like different for the front and the back. I was off gauge because I wasn't going to be holding it with a mohair, which honestly doesn't deter me. I do that all the time. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, as you can see as per my clematis vest, but one of my like most worn vests I knit completely off gauge. My gauge was smaller, like I had more stitches per 10 centimeters than what the pattern called for, and so I just knit. I was just going to knit a larger size so that the stitch count would work out. I think I was going to knit like the largest or second largest size. I did. I will insert here how far I got. So I knit all that. I had finished the yoke. I joined in the round. I started knitting the body. And then I just didn't like it. So the Terrazzo sweater is like an oversized, like cozy sweater with like a big folded over turtleneck. And then with this yarn being more of a lightweight yarn and then also quite thin because I wasn't holding it with the mohair, it wasn't gonna serve the purpose that the original Terrazzo sweater would have. So it wouldn't be a warm, cozy, you know, thicker turtleneck sweater. So then I figured that if I'm gonna make the Terrazzo sweater, I should make it with a different yarn that is more like lofty and, you know, thick and cozy and actually meets gauge, because I was finding that like the neckline was looking a little small, the shoulders were looking a little small, even though I did the math. I guess it works out for in terms of the circumference, but in terms of the like saddle portion, all the sizes I think cast on the same amount of stitches. So because mine was smaller, even though I knit the largest size, it like didn't compensate, so it still ended up being too small, or it looked too small. I've already unraveled it, so I don't have that to show, but hopefully I uploaded a photo there. So that was the first iteration. I started that before going to Knit City. So then, while I was at Knit City, I came with this in my bag because I had the intention of buying a lace strand to hold with this to meet gauge, so that it would be kind of like a cozy, thicker sweater. And I had the 2 patterns, Colourwork patterns in mind when I went shopping. So I thought that these would make a really good combination just because this has lots of pink in there, and this is like a warm, it's a very light, dusty pink. So I thought that these would go well together, and I did knit it up. This was the gauge swatch. So it's like, if you can see, it's like very thick, very bouncy. It has really nice drape with the alpaca, super soft. Like I could have this as a turtleneck around my neck, and it just felt amazing. You can see the halo on there. So it was just like super squishy, super dense, and I thought that this was gonna be perfect. So then I knit it up again, and I knit this here. So you can see here, and I think I have my original gauge swatch, BRB. Okay, I think we're losing light, so I do have to wrap this up. But this was the original gauge swatch that I made. And I just felt like the color was so off. Like this is so much more dimensional, and this looks very muted. Like from far away, you would just think that this is just like a beige sweater. I mean, you can still see the variegation, but it's very subtle compared to this, and I kind of wanted like a really colorful sweater, and I wanted to be able to showcase this Noro yarn, and I felt like adding this just kind of made it more dull. So then I figured if I'm gonna make this sweater with the alpaca, I should use a different yarn with it that's like either maybe like a light cream or a beige or even like a pink. So then that way it'll just be like a unicolor pink sweater. I guess I can put this on. I haven't unraveled this yet because, yeah, and it feels already like so warm. This is that, let me see. This is that kind of saddle shoulder detail that I was talking about. And then it goes in, it starts out with this like saddle, and then you go into raglan, or you go into a different type of increases, and then down here goes into raglan increases. So honestly, this is cute, this is pretty, but I just felt like it was masking the color of that sweater or that yarn too much. That, yeah, I didn't want to do that. So this I'm gonna have to unravel at some point. I did unravel kind of caked up ball of yarn because I had wound the two strands together into a cake, and then I was knitting from that. So I did unravel that into just the alpaca and the Noro, and it took a long time, and it was not that big of a ball. So I feel like this, I'll knit with what I have remaining first, and then if I run out, then I'll unravel this if the time comes. But yeah, I mean, super fuzzy, super cozy, but not the right pattern for the yarn. So I'll make the Terrazzo sweater again at some point with a different yarn and this alpaca. So yeah. Another thing also was that I wasn't gonna have enough. This is one full skein of the alpaca, and I only bought 3. So then I was like, I'm like sweating just from having this on. It's like super warm. So then I was like, I would have to buy more, but this vendor that I bought from at Knit City, it's called, the yarn store is called Your Next Knit, and that's out of Vancouver, I believe. I know it's BC. So I would have to order online and pay shipping, and I'd probably only need 1 or 2 more balls. The issue is that I assumed that these were 50-gram skeins because I think the pattern calls for 150 grams. So I bought 3. But then when I got home, I realized that these are only 25 gram skeins. So I should have got 6 instead of 3. So then that was also a dilemma. And then I was like, do I even like the color of this with this? Do I want to have to pay shipping for 3 balls of yarn, which are like $5 each? And then the shipping would be more than however much this cost. So I think just next time I'm in Vancouver, I'll get 3 more skeins of this and knit it into a Terrazzo sweater later on without having to pay shipping. Okay, and this brings me to what I finally ended up with, which is this. And I'm just so much more pleased with how it showcases the color with this. This is sweater number 9 by My Favorite Things Knitwear, sweater number 9 Light. I've knit this once before, and I did do the like turtle high neck mock neck, but for this one I decided just to do a short double folded collar. I did it where you like knit to a length, and then I did a purl row, and then I did another same amount, and then I like cast it off down. So I didn't cast off and sew it down. I kind of just knit it down and then kept knitting. Just because I figured, like I said, this is a lighter weight sweater, so a crew neck just kind of made more sense versus a turtleneck. I'm not sure if I love the purl detail. I've seen it used in other patterns before, but I think all of those were 1x1 rib patterns. So with the 2x2 rib, it kind of makes it look almost scalloped. I don't hate it, but yeah. Let me see if I can show the color comparison here. Maybe this is the thumbnail. Okay, but I think you can see it doesn't look, I feel like this is looking more colorful on camera than what it looks like in real life. In real life, it's very muted with the alpaca. So yeah, you can just kind of see like the yellow and the blue a little bit more, the striping versus this. So 3rd time's the charm. With this one, I've knit this pattern before, like I said, so I know how it fits, I know that I like it, and it's well written. The first one that I did was kind of like a longer length, and I did a split hem, so it was like a thick ribbed split hem on the side. This one I'm thinking I'm going to make cropped and not do the split hem. So the key feature of this one is the 2x2 ribbing along the raglan that carries seamless from the collar all the way down. And then also with this version, I don't know if you can see. I don't know. Okay, let me. I'm carrying it down the side as well, so it's going to go all the way down the side. I knit this size small. I guess I should talk about the pattern. So yeah, like I mentioned, sweater number 9 Light by My Favorite Things Knitwear. This one's a DK weight pattern, 20 stitches by 28 rows. Sizing is extra small to 4XL, and that works out to being 106 to 152 centimeters finished circumference. I knit this before size small to pattern, except for the split hem was the only modification that I made with that one, but raglan increases, everything I did to pattern. It's quite oversized. Let me just see if it says. I didn't measure it. I kind of just try on as I go, especially for raglans. I just increase until I think that it looks nice, and then I join in the round, or I'll knit longer. I kind of just read the pattern for the like the construction and the yoke increases. And then after a certain point I kind of stopped reading, which is why I made that mistake on the side of the sweater, because I just stopped reading it after I joined the round and I was just gonna knit until the length that I felt like. But yeah, the first one that I made was quite oversized. I would say maybe like 20 centimeters of positive ease. I don't even know. In future videos, I'm going to do a video that's like everything that I knit. So I'll try everything on and you'll kind of just see how it fits on me. In terms of my sizing, I just measured before filming this. My bust circumference is 86 centimeters, which is roughly 34 inches. And for my sweaters, generally I like them to be about 100 centimeters. A little bit more is fine. Not really much less than that. I said all that to say, for this one, I made it smaller. So the other one was quite oversized. This one I thought would be more of a lighter weight fabric. I'll probably be wearing this one more in like the fall, early winter, spring. I might be wearing this one with like a leather jacket versus my big giant like wool winter coat, which I wear my other one with. So I wanted it to be not so wide under the underarm. I did initially knit it to pattern, and then I joined in the round, did everything, knit about this much of the body, and I thought that it was just too oversized. Just because I want to be able to wear this one in the spring as well, and if I'm wearing shorts, I just thought it looked kind of odd. So I ripped back yesterday actually, and I ripped back one round of increases, and you're supposed to cast on a certain number of stitches in the underarm. I guess I won't give it away. And I cast on a quarter, or no, I cast on half of that, but on each side, so then it was like a quarter total. No, I guess it would be half total, but you get what I'm saying. And I'll try it on. I might unravel this again because I don't know if I made it too small now, because I also, this ribbing feature isn't in the pattern. So this kind of makes it cinch a little on the side as well. So we will see. And I'll kind of kneel. So this one, there is a sweater number 9. This is a sweater number 9 light. And this pattern does have short row shaping, where the sweater number 9, just the original one, doesn't have short row shaping. So I do like that this one does, because I feel like it makes, I mean, okay, as I say that, of course that's what it shows like that, but I feel like it fits really nice. I like the length of the collar. I feel like when I block it, it'll probably stretch out a little bit more, which I'm also okay with. So this is what it's looking like in the body. I think the sleeves are like good for sure. The body is not super oversized, like it is larger, but not by a ton. And yeah, that's kind of what it's looking like. We'll see. I'm gonna keep knitting on it, and then I'll do a mid-project block, I think, to see how I feel. If I feel like it's too small, then I will unravel it again and cast on more in the underarm and then keep knitting. So yeah, I'm not a stranger to unraveling. Such as whatever. I think I'm just, you know, when you're spending so much time to knitting something, you just want it to be perfect. And I feel like that's the beauty of knitting, is being able to make things custom. So I feel like it would be a waste to spend all the time knitting something and not have it be exactly what I want. So yeah, we'll see. see, this might be unraveled again, but for now, I think it should be fine because I think it will open up a little bit more with blocking. But I like how the stripes are kind of seamless across the shoulder, and then it'll go down the arms as well. And honestly, now I'm like trying this on. This is quite warm, maybe because of the mohair content in it. It is a hot day today, but yeah, so I'm like, maybe this actually would be more of a winter knit. I don't know. I guess we'll see how warm it is when I get done. I have 2 more works in progress to talk about, and then we're done, I swear. Okay, so for this last work in progress, throwback to this yarn that I mentioned earlier, Speckly. I was originally going to do the porcelain sweater, but decided not to. With this one, I knew I wanted to make it into a Colourwork sweater just because this is quite thin, and I didn't think that if I made this as a plain stockinette sweater, it would be warm enough. Just like I mentioned, like I live in kind of a cold climate in Alberta, Canada. So I wanted it to be warm. So I figured if I use it for a Colourwork sweater, then it'll be double thick. And then even though it's a like 22 to 24 stitch thinness of yarn, if it's in Colourwork, then it'll be a warmer fabric knit double. And I had this yarn in stash. This was a abandoned whip. So I had bought this originally. I had knitted up, held with the Concept by Katya, I think. Or no, I forget the brand, but it's the Make It Tweed. But I knitted up with that, and it was like a speckly, colorful. I still have it, so I can try it on. Okay, this was it. I had knit the Step by Step sweater by Florence Miller. Off gauge, I just did a bigger size, and I had held it with the Make It Tweed to make this colorful kind of sweater. I don't have it on a tube big enough, I guess, to try it on, but I'll just show you this here. But now that I'm making my Noro sweater, I feel like I don't need 2 colorful stockinette raglans. So I'm going to unravel this, and then I'm not sure what I'm going to hold the Make It Tweed with. I feel like I might hold it with a brown yarn, because it'll be like a higher contrast. Maybe that'll look nice. Maybe I'll make it into an accessory, like a knit bag or something. I don't know. But I was holding it with this yarn, which is the Berocco Lanas Light. And this one is 100% wool, Peruvian wool. And this is 22 to 24 stitches also. So I figured that this would work well with this yarn in a Colourwork project because they're the same gauge. And I had, I think I bought 3 balls of this, or 4. So I knew I had enough for a sweater quantity. If I have to buy more, this one is one that my local yarn shop regularly stocks. So if I need to buy another one, I don't think it should be too big of a deal. So I figured that I'd pair these together. I was looking for a Colourwork pattern, and I wanted it to be all over Colourwork just because I wanted like the whole garment thickness to be a little bit thicker. Like I wanted it to be Colourwork the whole way, just that it would be a warm sweater. And I was looking around at different patterns, and I wasn't finding any that I liked. I came across this pattern by Ventzel, which is the spot sweater. And I guess I'll show here the spot sweater. Let me pull that up on my Ravelry. So it's by Ventzel. It calls for a fingering weight plus a lace, but I'm just gonna do it with 1 DK weight. Oh, I'm already spoiling it. 1 DK weight yarn. 22 stitches by 21 rows is what it calls for. And I feel like it's also not relevant to say what size of needles, because I feel like everyone's knitting tension is different. So whatever needles that you use, as long as you hit gauge, then I think that's kind of all that matters. And it says that it has sizes extra small to double XL. It says that that's supposed to be from 98 to 125 centimeters, which I feel like is not a very broad size range. Like the extra small isn't even that small, and the double XL isn't that large. And when I bought the pattern and started knitting it, like the first 4 or 5 sizes, like all the stitch counts are the same, except for you just do more raglan increases. Yeah, like even if you sized up 2 sizes, you would be knitting the same size. Like, I'm not sure how it can be a different size if it's not any bigger, but anyway, I liked the pattern and I liked the all over color work. I like that it's geometric, and I like that it's so much patterning that it's neutral, if that makes sense. So this is my gauge swatch here. And this is with the Rowan felted tweed. I don't know if it's showing, but there's like the flecks of the blue and the orange in there. So this is how it works out. I feel like this is very nice color for fall. I'm really into the browns and the blues, and yeah, I think it actually works up perfect. And I like this a lot more than this, so I'm perfectly fine using this yarn for something else, and then I'll find something else to use the Make It Tweed for. But that's that. I keep most of my active whips in like these little crates I got them off Amazon, and I like that I can just like throw it and put it on like my desk or whatever, and it's kind of all contained. So I started knitting it here, and this is it so far, which I'm a little worried about the sizing. Like I said, all the sizes knit cast on the same amount and do the same amount of like the same like increase ratio. So I'm not sure how this is gonna be. The photos look oversized on the project page, so maybe I just need to trust the process and see, because I did meet gauge with my yarn, so in theory this should be the right size. I'm knitting in the size small, so according to that it should be 104 centimeters, which is how I kind of usually like my sweaters to be, so in theory this should be fine. I'm hoping. I guess we'll have to see and find out. I did make one adjustment to the pattern, which I'll talk about quickly before my phone dies. On the pattern, typically the background color is used to knit one raglan stitch, and then that's it. And I felt like it looked like there's triangles everywhere. And then along the raglan, it looks kind of like a diamond or like a parallelogram kind of shape. And I liked the idea of adding a border along the raglan with the contrast color, that way that they all look like triangles. Does this make sense? If I show the photo, you know what I'm talking about. So I added that along the raglan, and I think that that just makes it look way more cohesive. So I like that. Okay, it's like not, I haven't done enough for it to really look like anything, but I guess this is kind of how it's looking right now. The neck looks pretty high in the back, but maybe that's just because I haven't knit enough for it to be able to come down over my shoulders. So stay tuned to see. I was thinking of doing like a folded collar or possibly a mock neck for this one, but the neck is looking a little small. I might have to try to stretch it out with blocking, but I really love that I added that. So basically, I just added 2 stitches on either side of the written-in raglan sleeve, or raglan stitch, and I did the increases along the outside of both of them. So all 3 stitches I treated as the raglan, and yeah, I think that it looks really good, and I can't wait to finish it. And my last work in progress before my phone actually dies is this is all I have to show for it. It is my cardigan number 9 using this yarn, and it's a saddle shoulder construction. So how it works is you knit the 2 shoulder pieces, you pick up along one, you cast on stitches for the neck, you pick up along the other one, then you knit the back, then you pick up along the other side, you knit the front, and then you join in the round, and then you knit down. So I've just knit the 2 saddles so far, and I am loving the color. I love that it's kind of like not a flat dyed color, I guess because it's the natural yarn. It's definitely like I don't know if you'd say rustic, but it's not soft, but it's also not scratchy or prickly. It just kind of feels like sturdy. It doesn't feel like merino. Like, it definitely feels like a, you know, a hardy, oh, okay, we've lost the sun. Like a hardy wool. So I think it's gonna be perfect for a cardigan. It might even border on being able to wear it as kind of like a jacket when it's not super cold out. The beauty of knitting the saddles is that this kind of was my gauge swatch, so I just started knitting it. And I did hit gauge. So yeah, that is all of my current works in progress. And I'm gonna wrap this up here. Thanks for watching this through. If you did, I have no idea if anyone's gonna watch this. I don't even know if I'm gonna post this. We will see, but clearly I have a lot to talk about. And yeah, thanks for watching, and hopefully I will see you next time. Bye!